Always pressure on the door. There we go. Oh man, this website has gotten wider. Let's fix that in the stream. In fact, let me just get on here and... Excellent connection, great. Oh, and it started the stream already by itself. That's interesting. Where's the video is the question. YouTube is... Oof. Oh, all right. I guess it's working. Hey, look at that. Okay. I'm warning you now. This is as loud as my microphone is going to get. I suppose I could aim it more towards myself a little bit. That help? I'm also going to warn you. My camera's there. I'm going to forget that it's there, and I'm going to keep looking there at this monitor because that's where my face cam preview shows up. And just one quick thing, if you were watching the VOD of this or if you somehow magically happen to be watching it live, I mean, I'll see it and I'll be impressed, but I can't promise I'm going to respond to chat. If you want to see more of these streams, what you're going to have to do is subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell and make sure it notifies you for live streams, because I am not going to be announcing any live streams on this channel. This is my second channel. My main channel is Spdif Productions. If you're on this channel and you just managed to stumble across this by chance, welcome. If you're here from Spdif Productions, welcome. These sort of like weird little live streams like this of me just Goodwill shopping are just gonna be... Oh, I forgot to change the category and stuff on this. Whoops. Let's do this. Let's see. We'll call it Goodwill Shopping. Goodwill Window Shopping 1. This is the first episode. Description. Oh, I should be showing this on screen, huh? Let's do that. Why not? I'm not going to show my stream key, am I? I'm not going to show the... Okay, yeah. Let's do it. Why not, right? Let's see. Live streaming YouTube. There we go. Look at that. It's on the screen. Goodwill Shopping 1. Description. I look at things on the Goodwill auction site. Why? Because it's interesting. Okay, there we go. Can you hear any background sound? Probably a little bit, kind of quiet. Just so you know, if you hear that sound, it means there's a train going past. You can't see him outside my window right now, because that part of my room is a mess. The only part of my room that's on camera is the part that isn't a mess. And it's beautiful. Actually, this blanket looks ugly in the background, so I'm going to chuck it over there. How's that? Still not great. Let's just, mildly better? Mildly better. It's just a pile in the corner that no one has to pay attention to. Let's see. Oh, I can upload a thumbnail. Science and technology? It's definitely not that. Or is it? Maybe it is. What is this? Oh. Yes, it might be science and technology, actually, because we're going to be looking at sound equipment on here. Recording date. It's obviously today. I'm live streaming it. Okay, I'm going to stop with that. Save. Playbacks 1. Now that's impressive. How did someone find this stream? I just started streaming on a channel that I barely upload to. All right, whatever. If you want to see more streams like this, subscribe, and then set it to notifications, because I will not be announcing any streams on this channel ahead of time, and I just do them when I feel like. And originally, I have like 3 or 4 episodes of this that I have recorded previously that just never got uploaded anywhere, because uploading takes time, and going through and editing takes time. So I figure if I live stream it, it's just going to automatically be there already. So without further ado, and also my stream here is formatted for the old version of this website. So do I care enough to change it now? Is the real question. Let's see. Transform, edit transform. Do I care enough? Crop on the left. Nope, that's the wrong way. Oh man, this is a quality live stream. You guys, this is quality. Is this doing anything? Yeah, it's working. Okay. There's the left side. Crop on the right side. We'll get this figured out. Let's see. A little more. Because I made this streaming setup, and then they went and bloody changed the site. Which, like, understandable, because it looks a lot better now. It doesn't run any smoother. It runs just as badly as it did before. So here's a question. Do I have these overlap, or do I put them in, like, opposing corners? I could just make my face cam smaller. That is an option. Do I make the face cam smaller? Maybe I make the face cam smaller. You know what? Screw it. Reformat everything. No, grab this. This is going to go here because I'm looking that way. Oh, look, now I'm looking at the website. And you should be on top. Okay. Nope. I changed my mind again. This is going to go on top. And it's going to be slightly bigly. Move to top. Okay. And here we are. We've made it. Alright. Has anyone watched the stream? Because if they are, like, why? I can't believe there's one playback already. Like, what? Who does that? Who did that? Who watched this? I'm sorry if you watched this. Or if you're currently watching this. I'm still sorry if you're currently watching. I don't know. I can't tell. How do you tell what a stream is or does? Stream health. Okay. Well, minimize that tab, and I will probably ignore the streaming tab for the rest of the stream. And I don't know how long it's going to last, but I am going to... Well, I'm an idiot. I'm going to switch to camera only for a moment, because I realized I forgot to sign into this. So I'm going to sign in. There we go. All right. Yay, back to the live stream. Okay, let's see. First, I'm going to quickly check through my favorites and see what has sold. Ooh, hey. Okay, this is still only at 63. Interesting. I put things in my favorites not because I want to buy them necessarily, just because they're interesting items to me and I want to come back to it later, either to see how much it sold for, or, you know, just come look at it and maybe think about bidding on it. Some of these, this is 66. I wouldn't have paid 66 for that. You will find that me on this website, yeah, when I'm on this website, I am extremely, what's it called? I'm a huge cheapskate on this website. Yeah. But I also think a lot of things do legitimately sell for way more than they're worth on here. This face cam position feels weird. Would be better in the bottom corner. I don't know. We'll find out when we get to a product page, I think. All right, so first of all, as you can see, my favorite search term is mixer. Because I like looking at weird soundboards. And so we're going to look at some weird soundboards. And I'm going to go through and talk about them. We're not going to talk about this one because it's tiny and garbage. It's a weird microphone system, probably Karaoke Mics. Okay, there's tons of these on here. I'm going to open this one, and then I'm kind of going to ignore the rest of them. There's tons of these little crappy mixers from Realistic. Oh, and I'm sorry. All images are going to take a million years to load because my internet is ass. Yeah, there's so many of these little mixers on here, and like $7.99 is, if anyone even bids on it, it'll sell for about that. Like, there's no bids right now. See, now I'm concerned. I have to remember not to hit the shipping tab because that'll show my address on live streamed address, and that's not a fun time. Let's see. Yeah, it's just, they're bad. It's from Realistic. It's really small. Look at this. It uses RCA plugs, which is an unbalanced connection, which, you know, it's only for consumer grade gear. They're not good. Don't buy them. Like, just don't. It's not worth the money. They're usually like $15 shipping. Not good. I'll take a look at this Tascam D1000 again. I looked at this before. This is a it's like a recording. I hesitate to call it a, well, I guess it is a mixer, but it's a multi-track recorder essentially. This is not something you would really use for live mixing, which is what I'm most interested in. Although, see, things like this are interesting, but the problem is, in the modern time, if you're going to get a digital mixer that is like this for recording, it kind of ties you into a more specific workflow. And for my DAW, I use Reaper. And if you use Reaper, you know that there's like no one specific workflow that you use. So every project I kind of start differently at the current moment. But yeah, I would assume, this has Midi, I would assume if you didn't want to use this as an actual mixer, you could probably use it as a MIDI controller for your DAW. And if you're using it in conjunction with a DAW, I'm not entirely sure how you would set that up, because obviously I haven't looked at the manual for any of this stuff. I'm not super familiar with like methods of doing things for recording. I took one class in like studio recording, and that's about it. And we didn't really learn anything about the actual process, just theory, which is great. Yeah, a lot of little DJ mixers. But yeah, so that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it would be interesting, but it's not something I'm gonna spend a decent chunk of money on. And that's why it's on my watch list, or they used to call it watch list. Now it's my favorites list. That's why it's there, because it's something that's interesting, and that's about it. Some of these, sometimes I get interested in these like vintage, like food mixers. I want a company like Sunbeam, or KitchenAid, either KitchenAid or Sunbeam, to make a sound mixer. It can be a garbage sound mixer, like that little Realistic brand one I showed earlier. It can be one like that. I just want it to exist. I've looked at these before. These are little rack mount mixers. I think 1U, 2U. I can't remember the unit numbers off the top of my head. It's been such a long time since I've messed with like rack sizes. All my shit is just the same size, so whatever. I look over as if there's stuff in the rack. I have this little rack. No, these are each 1U, because this rack is 3U. And in that rack, I usually have this DAC here, but I had to take it to school recently, so I took the mounting ears off it. brought it in. It doesn't fit in my bag with the ears on it. And I also usually have a PreSonus FirePod, which I had to use at church recently, because it works really nicely with my MacBook. And I'm like, hey, if I'm going to be using the MacBook with QLab, so it's for our church's Christmas program with all the little kids, you know, and they needed some videos played. And I was like, if I'm going to be using the MacBook, I'm going to bring in the FirePod because my MacBook's headphones jack is broken. And the MacBook can use FireWire, which this uses. Isn't USB. It uses actually like a FireWire connection. But this thing, very nice. I got this for like $50 from this website. I think it was even less than that. It's probably 40 something. I think it was 60 with shipping, so that means it was probably, there we go, we'll just set that on top of the Behringer one. The Behringer one is the one I'm using now, mainly because it has USB. If I had a FireWire card in my computer, I would be using the FirePod because I like that one more. Here's something I have been looking at buying. No one's bidding on it. It's been listed twice. Like, it got published once, nobody bid on it. Or no, a bunch of people bid on it. And then no one actually bought it. Like, they bid on it, person won, they never paid for it. So like a week passed, and then they put it back up, or something like that. Either way, it was listed on here before when the auction ended, and then it came back, which happens quite frequently with sound equipment for whatever reason. I think people end up bidding more than they thought, or more than they expected to bid on it, you know, because it's easy to do that with auctions. And then because the consequences for not paying for it aren't like a real auction where it's like you just have to pay for it. The consequences for not paying for it here is just like, okay, your account gets temporarily banned from bidding on things. And then, like, that's it. You come back and then you're all good. This is a little audio interface / MIDI controller. So it's interesting. It's USB. It has 2 MIDI in and out ports. Word clock. Optical. Coax. Spdif. Like, and it's weird because it uses not just, you know, it's RCA plugs for the Spdif, but it uses the red, white, and yellow ones. I'm assuming because it's just an off-the-shelf component that they stuck in there, right? It's like, oh, this has 3 RCA plugs. The colors don't technically matter. It's very strange. Now no one's bidding on it because they started it at $49.96, and I'm going to see if this gets relisted again lower. And maybe if it does, I might bid on it. I don't know. We're still in the stuff that I've seen already. This thing is cool. I would buy these speakers just to have some loudspeakers that exist. Like outdoor loudspeakers. And also kind of the cables would also be kind of nice. Don't really care about the powered mixer all that much, actually. I already have a pretty big powered mixer. A 16-channel one from Rockville Audio, which is, it's okay. For the price, it's not bad, but it's, the actual quality overall is nothing to write home about. I will say it's better than some of the old, like, Behringer Eurorack ones, where it's like, wow, you called these invisible preamps, yet they're the noisiest preamps I've heard in my life. They're anything but invisible. And I'll get to that on some of these. Oh, here we go. I've apparently seen this one already, but I don't remember it. Yamaha PM400 8-channel mixer. Again, 8 channels, not something I'm actually interested in bidding on, but doesn't it look cool? There's a certain era of sound mixers, especially in like the prosumer sort of range, where it's like, let's take a piece of professional equipment and dumb it down, make it smaller and cheaper for consumers to use it, for like very basic things. This might be used for like a garage band or something, or even like mixing tape decks together and stuff. This stuff like this, or actually, it realistically is probably more like for portable PA sort of stuff. You know, it's got the carrying handle on it. It might be a powered mixer. I can't really tell. Can't really make out the writing on the back there. Oh, there we go. Amplifier. Yeah, it's a powered mixer. So this is basically a little PA system powered mixer. It probably had a cover over the top at one point that you'd fold down. Yeah, you see the little... That looks like maybe it used to be hinges there. Let's see the back again. Maybe that's just hooks to coil the cable around. Oh yeah, that's just cable hooks. Okay. But yeah, a lot of these you would have a cover, but apparently this one from Yamaha doesn't. I've seen other similar styles from the same sort of aesthetic era that have a cover. And the cover is always missing on this site. Two bitters, like, it's stuff like this. I don't know what it is. Old industrial designs are cool, but old, like, consumer based sound equipment is also really cool, because they go, okay, sound equipment already looks pretty cool, right? Like, there's this huge thing with a bunch of buttons and knobs and they're all colored different. Like, that's pretty freaking cool to look at. But now we're selling it to someone who doesn't just need the functionality of it and the quality of it. We're selling it to someone who, they don't know about all that stuff. They're a consumer, not a, audio professional. So we're selling it to somebody who part of what they're thinking about while they're looking at this is how cool it looks. So let's make it look as cool as possible. And, it's mixers like this that really tempt me to bid on them, because it's like, it looks interesting, but I know that it's not really gonna be anything to write home about. Like, there's no reason for me to get one of these. That's the thing. Like, that's my rule with just buying shit on this website, is like, I'm not going to spend money unless I'm actually going to have a use for it. Otherwise, it's just going to sit in my house forever and take up space. You can't see what I'm looking at, but there's a few items in here that are that way. This is another one of the... I actually don't know what this one is. I looked at this before. Is this a recorder? Is it an actual mixer? I think it is a recorder, but does it... Blank disc. So this is a disc recorder. Midi. Yeah. So I'm sure nowadays you could basically just straight up use it as a MIDI controller and ignore the audio part of it. But yeah, this is an interesting looking thing. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Oh, it comes with discs. Oh, that's cool. Yo. Okay, that makes it way cooler. Because then you could actually, like, feasibly use it for something. Again, though, with a lot of these recording mixers, you're locked into the specific workflow that it was designed for. Which, I mean, most of them are exactly the same. And it's pretty much a very common workflow anyway. But it's one of those where it's like, if you were expecting to work on this differently or have the amount of flexibility you would with a DAW or just a regular modern digital mixer, you will not find it here. And I'm used to that, so it's like, there's not really a reason for it other than if I were to just plug it in and use it as a MIDI controller. In which case, I kind of already have one of those that I made myself, so like, whatever. But it's interesting to look at. It's cool to see all these things. I keep licking my lips because I didn't think to bring water in here, but oh well. And how long will this stream go? I couldn't tell you. Let's see. Nope, still nobody watching. Average watch time is 2 seconds. Wow, that's incredible. One person watched at one point. I'm not expecting people to watch this, by the way. I want to be clear about that. PowerMix 3 3-channel personal mixer. No, thank you. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of these Pyramid DJ mixers. Pyramid's a common brand on here. Same with American Audio, although based on what those sell for, American Audio is probably a better brand than Pyramid. D-Tech D3200K stereo karaoke amplifier. Starting at $100, piss off. If somebody buys that for $100, I'm gonna be upset. Behringer Europower mixer. See, I usually don't look at any of the boxed powered mixers because I don't really have a use for a powered mixer at the moment. Like I said, I have one that's a console style and it's 16 channels. So like some of these, like this Behringer Europower one, if you're using a powered mixer for like PA, it's probably not horrible. Unless you're doing like actually high quality stuff with it, in which case you might want something better. But like if it's a utility thing mostly, and it doesn't need to sound incredible, then whatever. Here's another one of those mixers where it's like, I have no use for this, but it's really cool looking. Isn't that cool? Oh, and it's rack mountable, it looks like. Interesting. Yeah, this is a nice one. I'm not going to sit and dwell on that, though. Let's look at something I'd actually consider buying. Hold up. Behringer Europower mixer is selling for how much? There are 9 bids up to $87. This thing better be, like, confirmed working perfectly. Includes power cable and limited testing has been done there. Function properly. Okay. Interesting music chat. I mean, it does look basically like fresh out of the box. This is pretty pristine for a find on this website, but still, it's from Behringer, guys. I mean, again, it's a powered mixer. Usually, kind of use case where you're using a powered mixer, you're not as concerned about the, like, you're not going to be as concerned about the quality being perfect, you know. But at the same time, it's like, it's weird, right? Because, well, wait, I think these might use, oh, I can't tell. Yeah, these use the Onyx mic preamps, which are actually a lot better than the invisible ones that they used to use and that they used on a lot of their lower end products. So, okay, this isn't as bad of a mixer as I thought it was. I have a little, where's it at? I showed this in one of the videos I recorded, but I know that never made it onto YouTube. So I have a little old Behringer Eurorack UB802, and there are so many of this mixer and similar ones to it on this site. Do not buy them. Get the ones, like, if you're getting one this size, get the ones that are the color of, where's the screen? That are the color of that one. Because this one uses their invisible mic preamps, which sound like ass. Those use the Onyx ones, which sound a lot less like ass. Rockville uses knockoffs of Mackie's XDR preamps. I actually don't know. It might just be like they bought preamps from Mackie. Speaking of Mackie XDR preamps, CR1604. This is a very common mixer. Like, it's common because it's a decent mixer. Actually, I would go as far as to say it's a pretty good mixer, honestly, for its use case anyway. Like, these things would get rack mounted usually in like churches or I don't know, a lot of PA systems use these, like small theaters even, like a lot of like high school theaters and stuff, maybe colleges even. But yeah, these are cool. The only problem is it only has 6 microphone inputs, and I know that there is a version that Mackie makes. There is a version that Mackie makes, and a few different lines they make that have a full 16 channels in a 19-inch rack form factor that have a full 16 channels of XLR microphone inputs. But yeah, so I liked this, or I liked it? No. I added it to my favorites. But it's something I wouldn't buy. This is just a modular mixer amplifier PA amp thing. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool and industrial looking. So I hit the little heart button on it without thinking about it. And I'm like, yeah, I really don't care about that. Here we go. Here's a an AV mixer. So this is something a lot of people my age don't even know these things exist because they're so used to video editing being extremely accessible. This is something that takes an analog video input, multiple analog video inputs, and can switch between them on the fly, and has an analog output. And if you wanted to do like, let's say, video editing between like VHS tapes, you recorded a bunch of stuff on VHS tapes on a camcorder, let's say like in the 90s or whatever, on a VHS camera, and you throw them into VHS players, you could essentially use this thing to edit back and forth between two separate inputs. And it looks like do some color work as well, which is interesting. But yeah, here we go. So you have your sources here, one on one input, one on the other input, and then this would crossfade between them. You could also set like transition times and an auto fade. We have a similar thing to this, but kind of simultaneously fancier and less fancy that I use at my church because we're so cool that we bought a bunch of old analog equipment to do our modern live streams with because, yeah. I mean, we already had all the cameras. It was just a matter... I'm going to hit the like on that. It was just a matter of buying the board to go with them. Oh, Newmark Dj Mixer. There's a lot of this exact mixer. Probably because it's a lot of people's first DJ mixer, I would assume. But it's like so small that I can see why they end up here because you probably couldn't really resell it for much. And those other... This one's interesting. It's a Spdif Mixer. Spdif / ADAT. I don't know how people pronounce that. I've only ever seen it in text. Oh, now here's something fun. Eurorack Pro Line Mixer. Let's see how that looks. I like these little rack mount mixers. I love rack mount things. Anything that mounts in a 19-inch rack, I'm immediately interested. Balance level and one monitor send. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. And every channel is stereo. Huh. I'll hit the like on that. I don't know if I'll... Would I bid on that for any reason? I mean, there's 2 bidders already, and it's already at $10, so probably not. Because I really have no use for it, but it's interesting, isn't it? Let's see. Also, I just love the look of Behringer's equipment. Like, they're good at making things look nice. Nowadays they are. They didn't used to be. Exhibit this. Although this is pretty recent, so I don't know. Again, these are tiny. They're not good. Just don't. Get a nicer mixer because if you're at the point where you need a mixer to plug in your microphone, you're at the point where once you've spent money on a mixer, it's me enough to like consider buying it. Let's see. It does have 16 mic level inputs. And are these stereo at the top? Or is it mic line? Looks like line here, you know. And then one of these is insert and one is direct out or something. You can't really make out what it says. Maybe it'll be a closer one. Yeah, here we go. Preamp. Send and return. Oh no, preamp means the whole thing. This is send and return. So this is actually kind of cool. it has a separate input and output for its insert, which means, I mean, usually you don't get a balanced connection for inserts on smaller mixers like this, but this is kind of nice that you do. It kind of looks rusty and crappy, but it is a nice sort of design. It kind of has that, hold up, let me see if I can find is it a Moog that I'm thinking of? Images. Am I going to get copyright striked for some of these images? I hope not. I don't know if I was actually thinking of a Moog. There's a specific synthesizer I was thinking of that has the same sort of like rounded off, or white boxes with rounded off corners around it, and like the white, gray, and black knobs and stuff. It's kind of a nice design. I quite like it. I'll hit the button on that. Why not? Aha, Mackie CFX12. But the thing is here, right? This is another mixer from that sort of era of the 1604 that we were looking at earlier, but it's not a 1604. It only has 12 channels, and not all of them are XLR, so it's like, doesn't really apply to me. This is a multi-track recorder / mixer, apparently. Interesting. Let's see. Of course, everything's gonna take an hour and a half to load. It has plastic cover over everything, or a plastic cover over everything. Did you lift it up? Oh, it's a cassette recorder. Ooh. An interesting looking one at that. Oh, I'm getting tired now. It's past midnight. Look at that. It looks very plasticky. And it's definitely broken. Like, there's no way ifs or buts about that. It has been abused. It looks like it might be fairly compact. Or they tried to make it compact, maybe. Like, because the faders are really, like, thin. Weirdly thin. I don't know. Interesting. Hobart KitchenAid, sure, 4-channel mixer. That's probably not something actually interesting. Sunbeam. Oh yeah, I have one of these at my church, and I don't use it because they kind of suck. There's just not a whole lot of reason to use one of these except for like installed sound. It's like, don't really need one. Nice little utility thing. Here we go. Elisa's Multimix 8-channel USB mixer. These are the things where I'm like, don't buy this on here because it's starting at $16. And the bids, like, there's 4 bids already. Why are there 4 bids already? And the shipping's going to be like another $15. You spend $30 on this. You might as well spend a little bit more and get a similar thing new on Amazon or something. Also, I just realized I'm wearing like a collared shirt and everything. It's because I went to work today and I just haven't changed out of it. Samson 6-channel mixer. Behringer Xenix 1202. I haven't seen the Xenix 1202. I've only seen the Eurorack UB 1202. Kind of looks nice and sleek with the darker gray there instead of that light silver I showed you on mine earlier. Anyway, it's a sucky mixer. Sucky little thing. It's like, if this is the kind of stuff, these little mixers, if that's what you can afford and that's all you need, like, go ahead. But for me, that's not worth it because I already have little mixers. I have a little one right here. This is a, what is this? It's a Mix 12 FX from Mackie. And I straight up just use it. It's basically like a kind of a nicer version of this one. From a different company, of course. But yeah, I just use it for monitoring because I have a bunch of crap at my desk that I want to plug into my speakers. Here we go, more Behringer stuff. Xenix 802, Xenix Q802 USB. So this is basically the USB version of this, which are both the newer version of this, which I wish I had gotten. Oh hey, here we go. That's funny. Here's this exact mixer. And it's funny because I got this little one, this Mix 12 FX, which is this same mixer that I'm, using to listen right now on this website. I got mine on here too. So like these, if you see these ones on here from Mackie, this is a nice little mixer. For the form factor and the price you can usually find them for on here, pretty damn good. But again, if you only need 4 XLR inputs, which most of the time I need more than that. But this just so happened to have 4 stereo channels as well, and I had 4 stereo things that need to plug into it. At some point I'll get it connected. In fact, I'm going to hit like on this. I'm not going to buy it. I just want to see if it would have cost less than mine. Hey, here we go, another. Mackie 1402 VLZ Pro. VLZ Pro is the series I use at my church for mixing. And yeah, it is basically just a miniature version of that board. It looks so weirdly tiny. Yeah, interesting. Again, though, not really enough channels to consider useful for me, because I'm mostly interested in like theater stuff. Musical mini mixer multifunction mixing console. Whew. This is one of the weird generic ones from Amazon. I hope it is. I think so, yeah. No, it's not. This is like a specific product. This thing's weird. It's like these little things that come from companies that you've never heard of before. And it's one thing when it's a company like Rockville Audio, when it's like, okay, I've heard of this company somewhere, and I kind of know that it's like a risk to buy something from here because it's so cheap compared to like things that they're saying are in its class. But at the same time, it's better than buying it from like a company that you've never heard of, Here we go, another Pro 12, Pro FX 12. Jesus. Oh, this one's with USB though. So these USB ones sell for quite a bit on here and they can get pricey. But if I manage to find a deal on one, this one I won't, because it's new in box. It's already at like $40 and it's got 5 days left. So there's no way I'm going to buy this one, but I want to look at it, see how much it sells for. I would love to get the USB version of this. Just because I can essentially also use it as an audio interface in a pinch. Can never have too many audio interfaces. Yes, you can. That's a lie. They'll take up space in your house. Don't keep buying them. Yeah, and it has 6 XLR inputs this time, despite being FX12, which in the previous series meant 4 XLR inputs, which is interesting. But I'm not going to question it because I'll take 6. But yeah, I would love to do that. I would also like it to have faders. That's really a big thing for me. After using faders more, or after actually like having my own mixer that mixers that have had faders. Going back to this one, where I don't have faders, even though it's not a downgrade, because my old one was just a shitty Radio Shack DJ mixer. It kind of feels like a downgrade because it's like, oh, I can't like. It's way easier to get things in the right spot on a long fader than it is on a knob that you. I'm doing things off camera. On a long fader than it is to do on like a tiny knob. You have to find the exact position. All right, fully automated 32 channel digital audio mixer. I have to look at this. And it's from Behringer. Now you've got my attention. This looks like a knockoff of Is it the ProMix 01? Sure is. It's totally a knockoff of the ProMix 1. Yeah, look at this. Totally. Like, or it's the 01V. Let's see. We'll look at the reverb one. Or in fact, maybe we won't because that's taking too long. 01V, you can see it here. It's a similar looking design. And it's the same sort of like digital mixer that you can automate stuff on. 2 layers on this though. Very interesting. This is something I'm going to hit like on, and later when I'm not tired. Is this a built-in meter? Are these meters? Yo, that's kind of rad. This is not something I would necessarily want to mix a show on. But, oh my god. Oh, for storage. Oh god, it's great. It's too funny. Don't get me wrong. I have no idea what this mixer sounds like. It could sound like crap. But I'm liking it because it would be really fun to play with. It's already $50, and that's usually like my upper limit for buying stupid things that I don't really know. Odds are I'm not even going to come close to bidding on that, but it would be funny. A project I want to do at some point. Oh, here we go. This is kind of cool. A project I want to do at some point is to buy a cheap, crappy mixer on this website and then gut it and turn it into a MIDI controller. Because I've built a MIDI controller. I'll show you the MIDI controller I built. There it is. It's currently held together by gaff tape, but you get the picture. Bunch of faders. Bunch of buttons. Bunch of very cheap pots that really don't work because I cheaped out and they scammed me and sold me pots that just straight up don't work. Wrong resistance values. Excuse me. Not consistent in the slightest. Perfect. It's just like this time of night my internet gets crazy slow. How's this YouTube doing? It says excellent connection still, even though the stream is buffering. YouTube is not receiving. I don't care. See, now it says it's a problem. My internet's probably being shit because my computer's updating. Why are you updating? Don't restart now. What? Fuck off. Yeah, I know my computer doesn't meet requirements for Windows 11. I don't want to run Windows 11, you piss. Okay, well, hopefully the YouTube DVR whatever is recording this well enough, because I'm not recording it on here, and that's kind of the whole point of me streaming it, is so the VOD is up. You never know. This looks cool, so I'm adding it to my liked. There it is. Little Yamaha Mixer. 8 input for XLR, 2 stereo. That's very nice aesthetic. That's all about all I can say about it, honestly. Looks cool. Very nice. I've looked at this before. It almost seems like it's a an add-on, like a side thing that sits next to an existing mixer. Yamaha EMX 300. Let's try to open that. My internet's being a piss, so, you know, nothing's going to work right. Now YouTube says excellent connection again, so maybe not. Maybe it'll work fine. I don't know. Who really knows anything? All I know is that's not loading anymore. And this is, but neither of them show the pictures. Another Mackie 1202. A Mackie Onyx. Hey, that's something good. Rolls. I don't know if that's good or not. I don't think it is. Alright, well, let's see. Is this loading yet? Yes, it is. Ooh, here we go. That's another cool looking thing like that PV we saw earlier. This is definitely going to be a powered mixer, right? Oh, look at that. Very nice. Let's see. Oh, yeah, let's see what the inputs look like. What? Come on. Come on now. Inputs, please. 12 channels, it looks like. Yeah, 12. Is it just 12 channels? Oh, I guess it is, huh? Yeah, I mean, it's like a standard powered mixer from the era. It just looks kind of cool, though. Very interesting. Not interesting enough to buy it. Mackie Onyx. See, this is a small one, but interesting. Mackie 1202. Another thing I won't buy. Oh yeah, Rolls audio mixer. Is that a mixer? Oh, I guess it might be. Whatever. I don't really care. Not something I'm particularly interested in. Pioneer DJ Mixer, and it's got the CD things. I thought I saw this on here before. Also, just a shout out, CD audio, very nice. Like, people forget now, because we've moved on to streaming and it's way more convenient and everything. People forget, like, just how good CDs actually are. They're pretty damn good. Especially with dynamic range. Alright, and that is all the mixers on here. What is... audio seems to secure... Okay. This is a cool one. I've seen one of these on here before. Honestly, I don't really need to show you much else because it's just a powered mixer, but the case on it looks really cool. That's about it. Cool shape. An Onyx 1620i recording mixer. Now, does this have 16 channels? Doesn't look like it. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's a 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That always annoyed me with mixers because it'll say 16 channels, but what it really means is 12 channels, but 4 of them are stereo. Because to me, a channel is like your parameters, you know. It's not your it's not how many physical input jacks you have on the board. To me, a stereo channel is a channel that happens to have 2 inputs and 2 outputs. So like all of these will feed into a stereo mix technically, you know. I don't know, mildly annoying. This Firewire though, so it's got a little audio interface built in. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, there we go. Firewire. Huh. Get tired now. I wasn't tired when I started, now I am. I'll hit like on that, why not? Now, another interesting phenomenon with this website. You search mixer, that doesn't always work. It doesn't always give you everything, I should say. Mixing console will give you most of what you're missing. And a lot of times, the big fancy ones are in here. There's also a lot of small piddly ones, like these little realistic ones. So let's see what they've got today. And already I'm seeing some interesting things. This is in here, which I've seen before. And it's the same thing we saw earlier, that Pro FX 12 version, but it's the 8 version, 8-channel version. Yamaha mixing channel. And it's effects. It also looks like it's rack mount, which is immediately interesting to me. It's Yamaha. It's a brand I like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the same thing. 8 probably XLR inputs. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And effects return. Oh. See what the I/O looks like. I like the look of Yamaha boards. Yeah, this is basically just Yamaha said, hey, let's make the Mackie VLZ mixer, but make it look like a Yamaha board. Like, I'm going to hit like on that. It's only $27 right now, which is actually quite a nice deal. However, it's probably several days out still. Let's see. How long is it? 4 days? Yeah. Not great. It basically means that there's probably going to be a bidding war close to the end, and it'll get much higher than that. Let's see. And there's nothing interesting here. That sucks. Because there were two 32 channel big Mackie mixers with like a meter bridge and everything, and those were really cool, but they're both pickup only, and nobody's bought them. Both of them have been listed on here twice each, and they just sold. No, the auctions just ended for them the other day, so I was hoping they would have relisted them again on here, but apparently they have not yet. So I was hoping to show you that. Something like a little Behringer Xenix thing. I usually don't look at these little ones. But yeah, here's another little Yamaha one. These are a much nicer alternative to things like this. These little Yamaha ones. And the other thing about them, they're way higher quality than like Behringer and other weird off brands that make tiny little Behringer clones. Behringer kind of makes clones of other companies a lot, and it's really funny to me when Behringer has products that are popular because they're cheap, and so other even cheaper companies make clones of the Behringer stuff. It's like, wow. But yeah, these little Yamaha ones, quite expensive brand new. On this site, sometimes they can sell for surprisingly little. So keep an eye out for stuff like this if you're looking for like small under 8 XLR input channel. Like less than 8 tends to be fairly cheap on here. And if it looks like it's in good condition, comes with all the parts, or you're willing to find like order a replacement plug on your own, or if you're able to, if you know how to fix things and you just go, hey, I'm going to buy this as is, and if it doesn't work, I'll fix it, make it work, do it. Because those little Yamaha ones are way nicer than all the other ones. And on here, they don't sell for a whole lot more a lot of the time. Like this. This is a much better mixer. Granted, excuse me. I was trying to make a point here and you changed the image on me. This mixer, the Yamaha one, has, first of all, it's laid out weirder. It has less settings for the stereo inputs. However, the microphone inputs, which are usually the thing that people using a small mixer like this will care about the most, because usually they're getting it so they can use their nice new XLR microphone. The preamps on these inputs will sound a lot better and introduce a whole lot less noise. And if you look at it, this has pad buttons and a high pass filter at 80 hertz. And those can give you quite a bit more flexibility. This will change these between 2 stereo channels and 2 mono, or 2 channels in stereo and apparently separate mono channels, which I don't know what the difference would be other than like you pan one to the side. Oh, I see what it is. There's no pan knob. So it gives you less flexibility in some ways, apparently. But you're going to get a nicer sound out of it. So it's stuff like that. You kind of learn which brands have good sounding electronics in them. And another one I like to look up is audio interface. And I'll probably do this, then I'll search a little vintage computer stuff, and then we'll be done with the stream for the night, because I want to go to bed soon. Let's see. Oh, we've got some interesting new stuff. Quite a bit of Focusrites on here. Also, if you see Focusrites on here and they look like they're in good condition, especially if they're tested, go for it, because they are way cheaper on here than they sell like clearly if they sell new, they're going to be way more expensive than here anyway. But like, these things are crazy expensive as it is. Hence, I don't have one. But yeah, as far as like personal, small scale, just a couple inputs sort of recording setups, Focusrite, the Focusrite Scarlett series is like pretty, it's popular and for good reason. Let's see, Presonus audio boxes are also pretty good. I personally quite like the sound of the Presonus preamps. The audio box is essentially the newer USB version of the FirePods. Let's see, Novation. Okay. More Focusrite. Audient. ID channel audio interface. That's interesting. I don't know that company. Alesis. Here we go. Behringer. Behringer Euphoria series is pretty good. But you'll want to look at it because some of them use the Midas preamps. You can see here it says Midas preamp. And some of them, because Behringer bought the company Midas. And Midas actually makes some pretty damn good preamps. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's exactly the same as like Midas's most famous, best preamps in these. It probably isn't, but they're definitely better than any other preamps that Behringer used to use. Like it blows the invisible preamp out of the water, and it kind of kicks the ass of the Xenix preamp as well. So these are quite nice if you like the sound of them, and for very cheap. Like brand new, they're pretty cheap, but some of these Euphoria series from them uses the Xenix preamps. If you're gonna pay money for it, right, and not just buy it cheap on a site like this, get the ones, spend a bit extra, get the ones with the Midas preamps because they're way better. It is like a noticeable improvement. Well, maybe not. I noticed the improvement. Or maybe it's just the power of suggestion. You never know. They could be identical. Who knows, really? Presonus Firebox. So this will be an audio box, but Firewire. Or a FirePod, but not rack mount and a lot smaller. More Focusrite. M Audio, those are pretty good. DigiDesign, those are also pretty good. Yeah, it's always like decent stuff on here. Most of it's like prosumer level, like Scarlett, M Audio, DigiDesign, Behringer ones. They're like, yeah, we know these are for consumers, but we're gonna make them good, especially the Focusrite ones. And I think M Audio is pretty up there too, actually, but I don't know about their older stuff. But yeah. And I'm going to just search Commodore real quick because I am a collector of Commodore computer things. And if there's something interesting that I like, I will jump on it. This game slot was very tempting, but that is a lot of money. This is pretty cool. That is a quite rare disk drive, if I'm remembering correctly. The white, because it's the white one. Not the dark brown one that I have behind me. Oh, it's out of shop. Commodore calculator. All right, well, that's about it. I think that is just about it for now. Let me know whether or not you like this video, and if you want to see more like it, subscribe, and click the bell to get notifications on when I go live next, because every once in a great while, I will feel like sitting down and just window shopping live. And then I will do that. And maybe at some point there will be an audience of like 3 or 4 people. And I will talk to them and try to be funny. But until then, I'm just going to go, ooh, look at that. Doesn't that mixer look cool? A whole lot. All right, well.